Hey guys, welcome to Deep South. I know this is a little unusual today, but I'm just going to take you along on what Danny and I are doing this morning. He's already fed the cows, put them some hay out and stuff like that. I just harvested a Cherokee Tam pumpkin. Isn't that awesome? As big as my head, half as big anyways. We're going to be working over here today, and I'm going to try and do a few clips of things that, you know, I see going on. But let me show you this sunrise. There we go. It's just coming over the trees. You can see the pond and the house in the background. And Danny's headed this way. We're going to be working on hooking up a tankless hot water heater. And the other thing we're doing right now, he's bringing some of that pond dirt and adding it to this. You can see he's adding in there, and what he's going to do is plow this all up, till it in, and we're fixing to plant cover crops here today. We have a storm coming in, possibly the Gulf again. We call it a storm, but a hurricane. It's already made a Cat 2, I think, and whether it'll come to Mississippi or not, who knows. The last few have missed us. We've only got a little rain, but he's just spreading that dirt out and getting it ready for cover crops. I planted this Mexican heather back a few months ago, and it has taken off and done good. It's beautiful. Danny and I liked having it in the landscape. We have an aloe vera, we have a mother-in-law's tongue, and this is my tree that Miss Lippy gave me. It's an aloe vera tree type thing. I've got to put it in a bigger pot for the winter, but it's going in the greenhouse. We like the Mexican heather so much that I planted one here, and I planted one here. This one is not, well, it's a little droopy, but I'm fixing to water everything. So we're hoping the Mexican heather will last throughout the fall and come back next spring. I'm not sure. I haven't looked that up, but this is the area that's covering our septic here, and we don't want things all out in here that would put roots down into the septic. So we're trying to be really careful of what we plant here. And this is the funniest sight here. We're just waiting for a possum or coon to get it, but look, this is my I think it's called a Fuyu persimmon. We have one persimmon in it, and I come check it. It's still hard, it's not ready yet, but we have coons and possums all over the place, like down there. And they haven't come down here and got it yet, so it, of course it's not ripe, but it's hanging in there, and I hope to harvest one persimmon off this tree this year. And the pond, it came up about a foot and it's dropped about a foot, so we're at the water level, we're pretty sure. Yesterday, right in here, I know my fingers are dirty, I've been pulling weeds, we saw a lot of bass, good sized bass in here. We were feeding them yesterday. The bass don't really eat the feed, but the brim do, but the bass were everywhere yesterday. So it's looking great. It just needs more water, and hopefully we'll get some rain in the next few days. The moon's still in the sky in the background. found. A Cherokee tan growing up in the woods there. Danny planted them all over this, and we knew we wouldn't find them till in this brush pile until they ready to harvest because they turn yellow, but it's hiding in there. Look. Isn't that awesome? All right, look, I came over to my asparagus and look at this. I get fresh asparagus. I don't know if there's any more, but on occasion I find some. But isn't it gorgeous? The asparagus is taking off really well, and look what. We have deer friends coming out across here. They just went all across. On this side we have fruit trees here. We planted, well, the huckleberry was already here. We planted a banana. It hadn't done too much because it's kind of dry here. The asparagus, behind the asparagus we have fruit trees all the way down, and the walking onions, the Egyptian walking onions. This is the back side of the cabin, and I'm hoping to turn this whole area here into like a mini food forest. Just haphazardly throw things all over the place and see what happens.
Okay guys, we're over here at the cabin in our garden in front of it here. We have amended the soil with some of the dirt that Lance dug up out of our pond. We've mixed some fertilizer in with it. We've had soil tests done this past year. The lime is really good. The pH is really good over here. So we're just adding a little bit of nutrition. We're going into the winter months. We're going to be putting a cover crop on here because I don't want to just see the soil sit bare all winter. So we're going to be using some broadleaf mustard. This comes from Hall's Tool. It's a good cover crop. It's edible, plus the wildlife love it. Plus it helps to kill root nematodes in the soil. So we're going to be using that. Then we're going to be using, we got this at our local feed store here. This is Siberian Dwarf Kale. This is a kale that we have found here that does really well here. The wildlife really like it. We like it. It's kind of like a dual purpose thing here at the cabin. If we want some kale to make kale chips or just to have just kale to eat, or broadleaf mustard, we can come out here and get either one of them to eat. Plus, it brings the wildlife in. We can sit in our cabin and watch the wildlife as they graze out here. And it keeps our soil covered during the winter months. This spring, we will till it all in and it will be good organic matter. So we're going to spread these individually so that we make sure we get the right amount of coverage for each one. Okay guys, now we hope and we pray for rain. We haven't had any in a month or so. The ground's extremely dry. We got that hurricane that's supposed to be coming in this direction, so hopefully we'll at least get some rain off of it, and maybe by not touching the soil till then, as deep as I got it tilled, it'll be nice and fluffy and the water will just settle in and the seeds will settle in with it. Maybe we'll get a good stand. We're hoping so anyway. Thank you guys from Deep South Homestead.